And welcome back, everybody, to another edition of the Speedway Review, powered by NASCAR Daily. I am Chris Burns, also known as Mike Honcho. With me, as always, Mr. Corey Huffnagel and Mr. Mike McMahon. And joining us tonight to talk about Watkins Glen, to answer any questions any one of us might have about his season or the NASCAR season in general, he's Joey Walnuts himself. Joey Ternullo, welcome back, buddy.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. Always a pleasure to be on here with you guys.
Oh, you are the man. By the way, if you're watching us, Corey and I have our beautiful Joey Walnuts t-shirts, courtesy of the man himself. We're going to have to try to get Mike one of those so we can all have, a beautiful Joey Walnuts gimmick. And Joey, before we get started into anything, how's the season going for you?
Not too bad. I haven't raced since the end of June. Back on the June 26th, we had a pretty horrific wreck at Waterford. Started on the pole and, led a few laps, and then the car wasn't that great. It was a little tight, worked through it, 35-lap feature. We found ourselves in the top 5 for most of the race, and then took the white flag, and the leader and the guy in second had a little contact and kind of got nowhere to go. I got squeezed 3 wide middle, and the next thing I know, I'm up against the fence and on my lid on the backstretch. So definitely scary, but it's just part of the game. So trying to fix the car and hoping to be back by the end of August or beginning of September. Still got plenty of racing left. We go right till the mid-October, so hopefully we can get some more races in.
Absolutely, and I'm going to come out and see you like I told you I would. That wreck kind of took the wind out of me, and I wasn't even in it. The pictures were just shook me. Because not only are you a good friend, but man, you're just a good dude, and nobody wants to see a wreck like that.
Yeah, absolutely. Scary for sure. I think the last flip at Waterford in the Modify was like 2016, and before that, you couldn't even remember. So definitely rare to see Modifieds go over at any place, not just Waterford.
Right.
So any big stuff coming up once you get back in the car, once the car's all fixed up?
Yeah, there's a couple big races. Waterford did this pretty cool theme this year. They did a Fast 5 series, which was 3 50-lap races, 175 lap, and 100 lap. We luckily I luckily have missed or haven't missed that many races with the weather. There's been a lot of rainouts this year, especially in July. So there's still a ton of big races left. We still have the 100-lapper, which is the finale October 17th, I believe, which is 7,000 to win. So that's going to be a good one. Definitely circled on my calendar. So should be a good time.
Nice. So, guys, as usual, if you're watching us live and in living color, make sure you comment. Mike is going to be acting as producer tonight. He will chime in as necessary. And when you comment, Mike will put them up on the screen. We will answer your questions. Tonight is supposed to be Ask Us Anything, but we're going to go to Corey first with the first news story of the evening.
Alrighty, so this one just came out earlier today, and it was announced that Chase Purdy tested positive for COVID-19, but the good thing is he has mild symptoms of COVID-19, so right now he is under the COVID protocol. So now A.J. Allmendinger is going to be stepping into that 23 truck this weekend, and actually this will be the first time he'll be in a truck since 2008. He has, A.J. Allmendinger in the Truck Series career-wise in the trucks, he has 3 top 10s with 13 career starts dating back from 2006. And honestly, if you guys are going to pick a winner in the Truck Series, I got to tell you, AJ is going to be the one to beat.
Yeah, I thought immediately that changed the whole look of the race, because when you go down the entry list, and I'm looking at it now, usually we do this when we do the picks, but I don't see a lot of Cup guys coming down. Yes, which is awesome. But at the same time, now you have A.J. Allmendinger, who is right now a leading contender for that Xfinity Series championship, and he's going to be running this race, like you said, for the first time in many years in a pretty decent truck. That team is no joke. So, and to get a racer's perspective, Joey, when you see on your circuit in the modified series, a really strong competitor come and basically play on your playground, does that make you work a little extra harder to try to, show them up?
Yeah, I mean, I think it definitely does. When you have a regular come down from a different track and come to Waterford, and he's like 2/10 faster than you on the practice charts, and he hasn't raced there all year. It definitely makes you work harder. It's kind of like you come back into your trail and you're like, I've been racing here all year and I've never been this fast. So what could we do as a team to get up front? So it makes you throw different ideas at the car, different strategy for the race, stuff like that, and kind of makes you a better driver in the seat as well.
And do you ever get a chance to like pick their brains after the fact? Hey, what'd you do here? What kind of setup were you running?
It depends on the driver, to be honest. Some of them don't want to, won't even give you the time of day, and some of them will talk to you to the ends of the earth. So it really depends how you catch them and how the race went for them. If the race went good for them, obviously you'll be able to talk to them. But if they were faster than you all day and you beat them in the race, they kind of don't want to even have a word with you.
I certainly understand that.
Yeah.
So Corey, you got any other news?
Alrighty, so the next one on the bucket list we have Michael Annett has been cleared to run this weekend at Watkins Glen. So if you guys are not aware, he just had leg surgery about a couple weeks ago, and I guess doctors cleared him this weekend. And of course now, and the only fact that matter is, we pretty much missed 2 races, and the fact that NASCAR pretty much granted him a playoff waiver as well. I'm happy that he's coming back, but now this is going to be a little bit of a stepping stone for him to make up. So
it shouldn't be too hard. I mean, and again, with Joey being out of his car right now, getting back into the car, a lot of times just like riding a bike after an injury, you're itching to get back into that car. Once you feel, when I was playing baseball, just to get back out onto that field, felt amazing. I'm sure as a driver, when you get injured and you get back in that car and the engine roars and, you can feel everything around you and even just feel the wind, man, that's got to be the greatest feeling in the world. What do you think, Joey?
Yeah, definitely. I cannot wait to get behind the seat again. It's unfortunate that this happened. It's definitely kind of weird because I've basically had my entire summer off, and I haven't had the entire summer off my whole entire racing career since I was, I started back in 2006. So it's kind of my first summer off in 15 years. So it's definitely strange, but I'll be ready to go. Got a full slate for the fall, and hopefully our luck can turn around.
Nice. And guys, Joey started at like a ridiculously young age in racing. You were running those little Bandolero cars way early on.
Yeah, I started in the Bandoleros when I was 11. That was in 2010. But I started racing when I was 6 at Silver City in Meriden at the Quarter Midget Club, where Ryan Priest started his career, Joey Logano, bunch of the other guys.
We need Joey Ternullo. I mean, Anthony Alfredo is all well and good, but get him out of the ride. Give Walnuts a ride. Come on.
Of course.
Somebody give Walnuts a ride.
I like the sound of that.
Hey, guys, Mike chiming in here. We want to talk about Cup drivers in the Truck Series. There's actually 2 stories that I can contribute here, and both of them are Ross Chastain related. Ross was scheduled to drive the 45 truck, I believe, for Nice Motorsports. He was told by NASCAR there are no Cup drivers as this is the final regular season race for the Truck Series. So his brother, that we didn't know he had a brother, Chad Chastain, is making his NASCAR debut in that 45 watermelon truck. Saw it on Facebook today. Looks beautiful. We're rooting for Chad. And keep on the topic of Ross Chastain, this week, as you all know, Ross was named the driver of the #1 now Trackhouse Chevrolet.
Yeah.
So my question to Mr. Honcho over here is now you can officially cross Trackhouse off of Matty D's perspective list, and also in your face, because I was right, Ross stayed. He is not going.
Nobody said he was going.
You said he wasn't going to stay there.
I said he had a better chance of staying than Kurt Busch. But I did say that was a potential ride, seeing as how he was in a contract year. Never said he was leaving.
Right.
Having said that, to go back to your point about Chad Chastain, I'm trying to find anything I can on this guy other than He works in sales. I know that. He runs the Southern Pro-Am Series. He hasn't competed on any NASCAR or ARCA series until this weekend. So this will be his first foray into the big time. So good luck to Chad Chastain driving that number 45 this week. Now, we don't have any questions coming up. And that's all fine and good because I send out to you guys, and Joey, it's kind of a surprise for you. I wanted you guys to, in your head, make your list, even if it's off the cup, of the top 5 free agents that you think deserve a ride. There's about what? We counted 9 free agents. No, there were 11 free agents. 2 of them already have jobs, so we have to cross them off the list.
Yeah.
So Cup Series Jones, we got some seats to fill. Who's filling these seats? Your top. Just take 5 guys you think deserve rides before, say, anybody else.
Boy, this is a tough one.
Yeah, this is definitely something you got to think about. This is definitely an interesting one.
Right. Well, okay. I guess I'll roll out first. Look, people. I've been talking to people about this all week, and I keep saying Matty D needs a ride. Whether it's the 3, the 8, the 20, this kid deserves a good ride. Denny Hamlin loves Matt DiBenedetto. Yes, somebody says, "Well, you screwed him out of 2 races." They're racing. You didn't expect Denny to hit the brake and let somebody pass him. No, he's going to run hard to the end. And they both said that in post. So my dream for him, put him in an RCR car. If he has to go to Toyota, get not Christopher Bell. Who's the one on a contract year? Is it Bell?
Yeah, it's Bell you're always talking about.
That's right. Bell is in a contract year. And thank you, because that goes to my point where – well, Matty D hasn't won on any of these series, blah, 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 blah. Does anybody remember Michael Waltrip's win percentage leading up to Daytona 2001?
Oh, I just watched this in that I watched that documentary, and he was going on, I think, some 400 losses, something like that. It was pretty high.
Yes, indeed. 462.
Yeah.
And that equates, if you do your math, and I'm going to do it now, we're going to go back to the 34 race schedule because they went to 36 the year before this. There's my man, Nick. How you doing, brother, man? All right, so 462. He wins his 462nd start. So we'll call it 461 divided by 34. That's the equivalent of 13 and a half seasons without a win. But Mikey kept getting quality rides. So winning is a lot. You want to win. You want to get the trophies. You want to get the prize money. You want to get the notoriety. But the one thing you can't count out is determination and consistency. Matty Diaz had both of that in the last 3 years. But since I think in my heart of hearts, they're not going to move Christopher Bell out of the 20 contract year or not, one of those RCR cars is perfect for him. And if we're going to talk about guys who are consistent, Reddick is consistent. Yes, I know Austin Dillon is the grandson du jour, but he's the first thing I'd send smoking out of town.
I mean, my thing with RCR is if he wouldn't even give Ty Dillon the 31 car, I mean, if he's not even giving Ty Dillon a ride, I really don't see.
Are you actually going to equate Matt DiBenedetto and Ty Dillon?
Not saying that, boss. Just saying.
Okay.
That's just, you're calling the grandson card there with Austin, but he let Ty Dillon just go fly out in the break. I thought for sure because they had some kind of affiliation with that 13 car. I thought for sure the 31 was going to make a comeback. Keep Ty Dillon racing, but nah, his own grandkid had to kick rocks, and. So the things that are going against Matty right now, unfortunately, is the lack of sponsors that are with him, like committed to staying with him no matter where he goes.
Yeah.
And partnerships like business connections, because Toyota in the 95 they made him kick rocks, and now Penske is technically making him kick rocks. I mean, Where else do you have to go but with maybe these startups of like GMS or something like that? Or we could see a surprise if 2311 decides to not go with Kurt Busch, as we're hearing, and puts Matty D in that car. But like I said, it's only speculation at this point. As far as free agents go, I don't know the list off the top of my head.
Got it right here.
It's getting crazy. Kurt Busch is going to land somewhere unless he retires, but it sounds like he's not in the mood to retire, especially after that win, saying, fans, do you want me to come back next year? Yes, we want Kurt Busch.
Yeah.
We want at least 2 more years.
In Kurt Busch's defense, and I'm going to throw Kurt Busch and Ryan Newman into the same kettle of water here. Both of them have been on the circuit for 20 plus years. The difference between the two is Kurt Busch has been more consistent over the last 4 to 5 years. Ryan Newman has been up, down, upside down, in the fence, in the hospital. No, and that's no knock on him. But since that wreck, Ryan Newman hasn't been Ryan Newman in capital letters.
Right.
So I would put Kurt Busch on that list. I'd put Matt DiBenedetto on that list of top free agents. Alex Bowman, I don't know if he signed his extension yet, but he's in a contract year. I don't think they're going to let him go in that 48.
I believe he signed his extension after one of those wins, maybe Nashville. Yeah. I definitely heard there was an extension there. So Bowman's safe for now.
Okay. Yeah. Recky Spinhouse Jr. is in a contract year. Those JTG Doherty cars are not bad. I could almost see Matty in the 47, if not in Priest's car. No offense to Ryan Priest. Hell of a driver, hell of a kid. I watched him race when he was up here. But, man, Priest has not done a whole lot to give himself that push that, you need to hire me.
Right.
I was never on board with the let's put Priest in a cup car. I mean, I saw a little bit of what he could do in Xfinity, but honestly, I think he should take a page out of Christopher Bell's book and just look at his success in the Truck Series and say, do I want to run 25th 3 laps down in a cup race, or do I want to run top 5 and battle for wins and championships? I mean, honestly.
That's a heck of a point because nobody wants to be Quinn Huff. Nobody wants to be Quinn Huff. Joey, you've heard the list. If you had to pick 2 of those, who would you think are a lock to get a good ride?
Well, definitely, I think you're going to like my first answer, but 100% Matty D. We see what he can do. Like you said, no one was going to expect Denny to pull over for him at Bristol when he led that race. So, and he had some big time, second, third place runs, led some laps. I think one of them was either Talladega or Daytona where he had it, on the last lap and he lost it. But,
yeah, it was Talladega.
Yeah. I remember that race last year.
Yeah, he was pretty upset about that. I just think if he just needs that win to get him going. It doesn't matter what kind of car he's in. It doesn't matter if it was for the Wood brothers or wherever else he may end up. But I think that's a definite lock to, he needs a Cup Series win.
Yeah, and going back to the race before the break at New Hampshire, he led a ton of laps, and it was the crew that failed him, the crew chief. Had he gone in with Almirola, we may be having a different conversation. I say may because I don't want to take away from what Eric Almirola did. And there's another ride that he could slide into, but we all kind of agreed last week and the week before. Eric Almirola saved his job with that win.
Absolutely.
Regardless of Smithfield going with him, I know that's his personal sponsorship, but man, he wins that race, and I'm driving home that night, and I'm like, oh, that man just saved his job. God. Because I would love to see Matt in that car. I wanted to see Matt in the 41 or, heck, the 14. But, we get Chase Briscoe and what's his nuts there? Cole Custer.
Yeah.
Ugh, shiny new toys. Everybody likes the shiny new toy until they remember their He-Man figures are over there, and they play with those.
Right.
Yeah.
Hire He-Man.
You got to just think of all the time, years, and effort that went into pruning and bringing up Christopher Bell, Tyler Reddick, and Cole Custer, who were the big 3 in Xfinity at that time. I know we've seen guys like Jones get shuffled out way earlier than we expected to, but I just don't see those. I don't see those major organizations like Childress and Gibbs and who's the third one, Stuart Haas, just giving up and moving on that quickly without, especially with this next gen coming out where anyone's going to have the chance to find, that little bit, that 1/10 of a second. It's going to be a whole new ball game. So I think we see more of a shakeup in 2023 than 2022. Honestly, I hope Matt doesn't have to go down to Xfinity and then come back up later when a better ride opens up. But I've said this before, I definitely don't want to see him in like a Spire car just putzing around the track and just trying to desperately win Daytona and Talladega.
But there's arguments on both sides of that. And the one argument I have is we've seen guys in low-end cars, Martin Truex Jr. being one of them, with a one-car, one-horse town team win a championship. On the other hand, you have failed experiments like Michael Waltrip and Danica Patrick, who had more seat time than they deserved. Only one of them, Michael Waltrip, came away with 4 wins in his entire career. The other one hit everything but the flag stand. So at this point, both arguments are valid, and I like what you're saying, but at the same time, it's a fatalistic viewpoint. If these teams are smart and they want consistency and they want a guy who they can look at and go, he took that car to that many second place finishes, imagine what he can do in this car, and take him. But again, this goes back to what you said, the shiny new toy. These guys were groomed for the Cup Series. And of the names you mentioned, none of them are lighting the world on fire. None of them.
Tyler Reddick has made the most improvement as far as the 3 of them go, because like Custer had that early random win, which he earned, not taking that away from him, but really didn't have consistency. And Bell had, peaks of consistency in that 95, but really, how are you going to put the 95 up against the 8 and the 41? Stewart at that time was the best organization to drive for. So Reddick overall has had the most progression in the year, the only year and a half it's been so far, which really isn't a lot of time, especially with the shakeup of schedule in 2020.
I don't disagree with that. Joey, what do you think about that?
No, I agree with that. Like he said, Bell in that 95 definitely turned some heads for a few races, but nothing compared to the 41 or the other cars he mentioned. So it's definitely going to be interesting. I agree with the fact that he mentioned, 2023 might be a little bit more of a shakeup than 2022. I think 2023 we see more of the young guns, being more incorporated into Cup. We already see Harrison Burton moving up to the 21 next year, so that's definitely going to turn some heads, and we'll see what happens from there.
All right. Corey, final thoughts?
Well, I kind of look at it, and the way I see Matt DiBenedetto going for next year, let's be honest, there's probably not a lot of Cup teams that are going to want him right now because either A, their seats are already full for next year, or B, he's probably going to have to go to like maybe a low-funded team or something like that. And the fact that, somebody brought up, DiBenedetto possibly going to Childress, I kind of thought, well, if Childress could have had enough money and enough sponsors, for that third team, I could probably see that as a possibility. But I think it's just pretty much up to the team owner if he wants to run a 3-car team or if he just wants to run a 2-car team as it is. Because there was at a time where I think Childress ran 4 cars one year and then scaled down to 3 and now scaling down to 2. So the way I look at DiBenedetto, I could probably think of a few things. I could think of, he could possibly take the GMS ride next year, or he could quite possibly take the Colleague ride if Colleague Racing decides, okay, why don't we have maybe 2 full-time guys in the Cup Series, and then maybe AJ, can still do Xfinity full-time for Colleague. And then you just look at Almirola, pretty much, that win a couple weeks ago saved his ride. And then you look at Kurt Busch. I do want to say, and of course there is rumors that he is going to the second 2311 car. And then there's also rumors saying that, Kurt's probably going to go to the booth next year. But honestly, I really don't know what Kurt's going to do next year. And then, you look at all the other guys for next season. And then, of course, looking on to 2023, I think 2023 may be a little bit interesting. I think we might see a couple shakeups, depending on, what we're doing this year. But I think 2023 will be a very interesting shakeup to see who's going to go where in the next 2 years.
Oh, yeah. And the biggest thing that I'm thinking of is I'm pretty sure 2023 is Harvick's last season.
Yeah.
So opening that 4-car, again, we're putting the cart in front of the horse here as we're talking about silly season in 2022. But, I've heard rumors of Haley Deegan. I've heard rumors of this one and that one. Oh, they're going to go into the 4-car when Harvick retires. He'll make sure of that. Well, technically, it's not up to him. And who's to say he's not going to take all the money he's made over the years and try to start his own Cup team?
Right. Exactly.
Good point.
Now, is there anything on your mind about this season, Joey, whether it's the last 4 races, silly season, looking ahead to the playoffs, or 2022?
Not really in particular. I mean, I think this year's, championship battle is going to be interesting. I mean, I couldn't even give you a championship 4 right now if I wanted to, it's just too close. I think there's so many guys that are in the mix that could make it this year. We might see some names that you would have never thought would make it back during speed weeks in February,
Mm-hmm. And
So,
when you look at the way the season is breaking down, you had Martin Truex come out of the gate strong, and he's not done really well in the last month or two. Yeah. Then, the month of June belongs to Kyle Larson.
Yeah.
He's not had the best of time. Then you talk about guys without wins. You're talking about Hamlin, Harvick, guys on this list who have won before, Chris Buescher, even where is he? Way down here in 27th. Ryan Newman. I mean, Cole Custer is in 28th. This isn't normal. But at the same time, it's not normal to have 13 different winners, which has been really, really fun to see.
Yeah.
Every week, with the exception of the month of June, where we all asked who's going to finish second behind Larson, we were all excited. Are we going to get another first-time winner? Are we going to fill the championship with all winners and potentially have your regular season champion, Denny Hamlin, not even make the cut? As of right now, I apologize. As of right now, Hamlin has lost that lead. Larson, Truex, and Kyle Busch all leapfrogged Denny Hamlin after New Hampshire.
Yeah.
That's because he took his ball and went. No, that was Kyle Busch. Never mind. But, yeah, I mean, just looking at this list. But then again, Michael McDowell, I don't take anything away from his Daytona victory, but that was right place, right time. Yeah. Christopher Bell, late race pass.
On Logano, I believe, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
And it is going to – Caden's right. It is going to be weird to see what happens. But, if I had to take 2 names off that list, if I were allowed to, right now, Bell and McDowell,
yeah,
they were the 2 luckiest winners on that list.
Yeah.
That happened to be the first 2 winners of the season.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But,
and then probably most likely the last 2 that get in, unless it's a Harvick or Hamlin, something like that, is probably going to be first to go out.
I wouldn't doubt it because, again, you look at, Hamlin and Harvick haven't had bad seasons. They've got good point totals. They've been relatively consistent. Hamlin more than Harvick. But, both of them have been in the – let's see where he hangs. Denny Hamlin actually is still the points leader right now. I lied. He leads by 13 points. My mistake. Kevin Harvick sits in 10th in the points, so he's been consistent. Mike Concho. You're welcome. You're welcome.
I couldn't help it. It's too funny.
That's good. So again, if one of those 2 is going to get bounced, chances are it's going to be Harvick unless he pulls out a win, much like Hamlin. Hamlin could pull out a win, but neither one of them, in my mind, are going to the championship 4. I could be surprised. I've been wrong before, and I freely admit it. But right now, looking at the crop that is playoff contenders that are highlighted on this list, man, it's going to be hard to bet against Larson, Truex, Kyle Busch, and Chase Elliott when it comes down to that. These are the four you're looking at walking dead into the playoffs.
What do you say? I want to like if you had to put at this point in time. I know things are going to shake up, but if you had to pick your four, who's your four right now? Mine obviously Chase and sadly Larson. I like how you said Kyle Busch. He's been kind of consistent. I noticed Alex Bowman is really high up in points there, and he's been 3 wins and Mr. Consistent. So I see rather than Truex, I think Bowman sneaked his way into the Final Four.
I'm going to correct you real quick. Actually, Bowman sits 11th in points, but William Byron sits in 3rd. That's a consistent guy right there. William Byron.
Is that regular season or playoff?
These are regular season points right now.
You gotta look at playoff because playoff transfers over when the playoffs start.
I get that, but if you don't look at the regular season, that's where you find your consistency. That's where you really get where you get a shape for.
I see what you're saying.
Yeah, and much like hockey and basketball, racing's another sport where half the field gets into the playoffs. Only our playoffs only last 10 games, whereas hockey playoffs go till 3 years from now. But
yeah, I'm focusing on the bracket. I stopped looking at the regular season points because, like I mentioned last week, it's really not that important who wins the regular season points unless Hamlin has to fall back on it because he can't win.
And that's where I was going with that is, nobody wants to see a great consistent season but winless, and get bumped out by 16 different winners. But when you look at the regular season points before the wins, before the stage points, before everybody gets thrown in a pot and stirred around, this is where you find your consistent drivers. And just look at the top 6: Hamlin, Larson, Byron, Kyle Busch, Joey Logano, Chase Elliott. Those right now, those are guys you see every week battling up front. If you go further down the list, you see sometimes they're up, sometimes they're down, but it's not really that consistent. And Joey being a driver, I got to ask you, what's more important when it comes to collecting these points and going for a championship? Is it consistency or is it win at all costs?
I think it's a lot more to do with consistency. I mean, to win a race, in my opinion, if you're consistent, the wins come with it. If you're finishing second, third every week on the podium, that win is definitely coming. So I think a lot of drivers take that into consideration when they're racing. They use, of course, a guy like Kyle Busch hates finishing second, but, so anybody that finishes second or third, that's a good day for them. Pack up, go home, regroup for next week.
Yep. I agree with that, and I'm gonna look at Caden's response right here. There's 2 of them. SHR is focused on the next gen, and Denny is focused on Bubba's crew. Kind of have to be at this point because Bubba's not lighting the world on fire, and we all know what Michael Jordan said at the beginning of the season. I'm not gonna write checks for losers. I'm wondering where Bubba's making his money right now. And the second comment is I'm still waiting on Kevin's first win, and time's running out. Yes, it is, but as we spoke on last week, there are 2 road courses and 2 courses where in Michigan where Harvick has won 4 out of the last 5 and Daytona is anybody's ball game. If you can get out front, you can win that race.
To comment on Denny being focused on Bubba's crew, what I'm hearing from Denny's tweets is that locking down that second charter is a huge priority for them because I think that's really going to help them out if they have, they've been working with Bubba. JGR has. They've mentioned that Truex and Kyle Busch have kind of, given them some advice and helped them out a little bit. But I think having a second car in the shop, even someone like Kurt Busch and a veteran driver to be there on the day-to-day, it's going to help that car immensely in the long run. So, yeah, I think that's where Denny's focus is right now. But honestly, Denny can sneak his way in at any time at any one of these tracks.
Sure.
Especially Daytona.
But even, to go, I'm not trying to play devil's advocate here, but when you talk about having a veteran driver in there with advice and this and that. When you look at Hendrick Motorsports has 4 young guns all under the age of 30. Sometimes it's not about a veteran. It's about that chemistry. Is it bringing energy? Is there fire underneath all of their butts to not so much go out and just win? You want to be the top dog next week when you pull back into the shop and go, I don't know if you guys all noticed this, but of the 4 of us, I finished highest. That was me. And now, it stokes a little bit of competition to watch even a young baseball team, go deep into the playoffs. Yes, sometimes you lose to the veteran team, but they're not out to just win. They're out to outdo their teammate, but at the same time play along under team rules.
Right.
Okay. So, I had a topic from last week's episode I didn't get to cover, and it has to do with Penske. If you guys want to cover this real quick before we dive into Watkins Glen, which I am immensely excited about. But I read this interview last week with the turnover at Team Penske in 2022. This is going to be a little bit of an article because I took a couple quotes, so just wait to comment on it, and I'll let you know when I'm ready for feedback here. So Blaney and Logano believe they must increase their leadership roles. It says, if I can provide that help and information, that's just a role I've always wanted to be in. And Penske stated, Joey and Blaney, I talked to them both. They're going to have to take leadership roles within the team, supporting both of these young guys in Cindric and Harrison Burton. Logano said, I think there's a lot of opportunity. I think we've all seen what Austin is capable of doing in Xfinity. Sometimes something that I think about him is his work ethic and where it needs to be. He probably works harder. I wouldn't say he works as hard as me, but he's pretty close to it. So I think we're able to push each other a lot. I think he's going to be able to bring a lot to the table. Blaney was quoted saying, I'm bummed about losing my teammate, Brad. Brad has been a great partner throughout the last 8 or 9 years at Penske. My thoughts on that, Joey would be the lead role there rather than Blaney. Joey has more experience. He's a champion. Yes, Blaney can win races, and he does have insight. He can help bring Harrison up, but I think Joey and Cindric are going to be a combination of teammates that we haven't seen at Penske because Brad was out on his own, Joey was out on his own, and Blaney was just kind of there. I don't see why Blaney's upset about losing Brad because we saw in that battle at New Hampshire that the gloves were fully off.
Oh, yeah. All right, Joey, why don't you hit this one? What are you thinking about that story?
Yeah, I mean, definitely interesting. But I'd like to, say if you recall, the Penske relationship started off kind of rough this year, starting with the last lap of the 500.
Yeah.
Logano kind of having that in the bag, and Brad giving him that little extra push, and both they went. I think they didn't talk to each other for a while.
Yeah.
And, I think Roger Penske was a little upset about that too. He could have had a 1-2 finish in the 500, but instead he had two race cars going to the graveyard. So in terms of leadership, I agree with what he was saying about, definitely Joey being the head leader, 2018 champ, Daytona 500 champ, started out as a young gun, worked his way up. Blaney does know how to win some races, but he kind of still falls under that, young kid category. And then again, like Cindric, he was really good in Xfinity. It's going to be interesting to see what he can do in Cup next year. I think he has filled in for some Cup guys, in years past, whether it was for an illness or something. I'm not sure if I'm wrong on that, but I think he has been in a few Cup races. So it's just going to be interesting to see. But with Brad, heading to Roush, it's going to be weird to see how things play out down at Penske.
Wow, good call. And you got to remember, Penske has not always been the best place for teammates to mesh, going all the way back to Rusty Wallace and Jeremy Mayfield, or Rusty Wallace and Ryan Newman, or Keselowski and fill in the blank here.
Yeah.
Even when Kurt Busch was there was tension between him and Ryan Newman. I don't think that I like the fact that they put top flight guys into their cars and Austin Cindric, but yes, I took a shot at Austin Cindric. Corey, get over it. I think Penske is more like, here, you have a car, you have a team, go out and do your best. But I don't think they also try to foster an environment of, you guys are a team, you should work together. But on that last lap, anything goes. You don't see a lot of the Penske guys standing around next to each other in the pits before a race. You see the Stewart-Haas guys do it, or you see the Penske guys standing with their buddies, but it's never two Penske guys shoulder to shoulder. And I think that's a problem going forward. And maybe with Keselowski moving on to Roush Fenway and Joey Logano taking that leadership role, like Mike talked about, I think you're going to see a shift in how they interact with each other pre-race and post-race at Penske going forward. Corey, what do you think?
Yeah, I honestly think, with Keselowski going to Roush, it is going to be a little weird, but I will say I think Joey's going to take that leadership role very seriously next year as well. I just look at their lineup next year, and of course, we all know that Austin Cindric, he's pretty good when it comes to the road courses. And again, him going to the 2-car next year doesn't really surprise me at all, because I pretty much just say that he's pretty much Penske's top prospect at this point. And I just look at it, pretty much, Logano, only has 1 win this year, and then Keselowski only has 1 win, and Blaney only has 1 win. So, and I'm actually kind of surprised that, the Penske guys haven't won more than 1 race this year. But the way I look at Keselowski going to Roush next year, I don't think he's going to light the world on fire next year, but I think it's going to be a big help for that team. I don't expect him to win a lot of races next year. I think I could probably see him win maybe 1 race if the chemistry is right. But then yet again, with Penske, this is pretty much a team that, you're expected to win races and expected to win a championship, because we've seen what Roger Penske has done, motorsports wise. For God's sakes, the guy's been a racer himself. And then not to mention, he's also helped, build racetracks all across the United States for about a couple of years. And not to mention, the fact that he owns the Indianapolis Motor Speedway and owns the IndyCar series. Just like I say, not only he's a team owner, but he's basically a legitimate businessman. He knows what he's doing, and he knows how to put the right combinations together. So, and I think I look at Penske next year as a whole. I don't think I see any problem with it whatsoever, but I think, it is going to be a little different, but I do hope to and expect to see all 3 of those guys, start winning races next season.
Absolutely. Good call by you.
Yeah.
Joey, you were saying?
Yeah, I just said those are some good points. Corey, I think, hit the nail on the head with that one.
And he's dressed like a champion tonight. Look at that beautiful shirt. Guys, if you want one of these, you just have to find Joey Walnuts on the Twitter machine or the Instagram machine. Ask him for his shirt. Send him $3,000, which he will split graciously 4 ways, and he'll send you a shirt.
Exactly.
Get yourself a beautiful Joey Ternullo t-shirt now.
Yes.
But guys, we got a doubleheader on Saturday, which sucks for me because I'll be painting all day. But this is the part of the show where we talk about 12:30 Eastern Time, Watkins Glen International Speedway, 72 laps of Truck Series racing on the road course. Corey, tell them how, when, where, and why.
All right, so you can catch the United Rentals 176. This will be on 12:30 Eastern Time on FS1, and then you can stream it online on the Motor Racing Network.
The gold medal of radio broadcasts, the voice of NASCAR. Had to get that in on the Olympic break. All right, So Austin Hill's going to start on the pole, the entry list, as we talked about. Very few surprises, with the exception of Senor Chad Chastain and AJ Allmendinger. Looks like a good group of guys. Joey, you're the guest. Why don't you give us 2 picks, a lock and a sleeper for this race?
All right. So for the Truck Series, I like the pole sitter, Austin Hill. I think he's had a pretty solid year. road course is definitely going to mix things up a bit. Watkins Glen is probably one of my favorite road courses, just because you got that long straightaway and around the bend and up the hill down to the bus stop, which it could get pretty crazy in there at times. So that's going to be the make or break. A sleeper, that's a tough one. I'm going to have to go with maybe Crafton on that one.
Nice. All right, Michael Motorcycle, it is your turn.
Well, guys, I didn't have any Joey Ternullo merch, so what I am repping is Chase Elliott's awesome victory at the Daytona Road Course 1 year ago, which I was there for. One of the coolest selfies I have. But I also saw the truck race that day on the Daytona Road Course. It was my first it was my first road course race ever in NASCAR, and it was really cool to see the trucks run a road course. So I'm going to go with the guy that won there last year. I'm going to go with Sheldon Creed. I think he gets it done. He proved he can run really good on the road course. Now, we mentioned Allmendinger is going to be in this race.
Yeah.
However, it's not always a guarantee that Allmendinger can win. He's going to finish top 5, at least top 10. He seems to have trouble, like things that don't go his way, not necessarily his fault, when he comes into the Cup Series. So I think he has some trouble. I think he overcomes it in stage 3. He is my sleeper.
Who is that now?
AJ Allmendinger.
Okay. Corey, you are next, my friend.
Alrighty, so I'm going to give you guys a little pop quiz. Last time a Truck Series driver won at Watkins Glen.
Last time a Truck Series driver won at Watkins Glen. Matt Crafton.
Ron Hornaday, maybe.
Well, you are right on one of them. Ron Hornaday actually won the first race at Watkins Glen in 1996. So actually, reading down, you have winners. Ron Fellows won in 1997. Joe Ruttman won in 98. Ron Fellows again in 99. And then who was the last driver to win the Truck Series race in 2000?
2000. Ooh.
Yeah. The first time in 20 years.
Was it Bodine?
No.
Wow, I got to think back to who was on the circuit back then.
All right, I'll give you guys a hint. I'll give you guys a hint. It starts with a G.
A G.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got me. I have no idea.
Jeff Bodine. I would have said Jeff Bodine.
Right.
All right, so the last time.
Greg Biffle?
Yeah, it was Greg Biffle.
Oh!
Yep. So Greg Biffle was the last driver that won in the Truck Series at Watkins Glen back in June of 2000.
Damn, that's awesome.
Nice. Nice.
The Biff.
Yep.
The Biff.
The Biff. All right. Anyways, so my lock going into this race, I'm going to pick Sheldon Creed also, and I've seen how he's done on the road courses the last 2 races, and I got to tell you, he has been pretty good. But then yet again, this year he only has 1 win. So I'm really hoping this team steps it up in time for the playoffs. Now, my sleeper on this one, I'm going to go with the guy that did really well at COTA, the guy that actually won at COTA. I'm going to go with Todd Gilliland. Now, this was a driver that, I didn't expect him to win at COTA back in May or whatever month it was. But after he won that race, I thought to myself, I think he is a really good road course racer, and the fact that we're going to Watkins Glen this weekend, I mean, why not? I mean, I think this is a team that, could quite possibly, take the win this weekend. And quite honestly, if they have their pitch strategies right and could be up in front all day, this is a team that I think will be one to watch.
Nice. Well, that is solid. I also went back to COTA, and I looked at not the winner, but I looked at the second place finisher who really came out of the box strong, looked great in that race. I'm going with my sleeper first. I took Kaz Grala, who in the last few road courses has looked spectacular. And again, like Joey mentioned earlier, when you do that well for so long, that win is coming. So Kaz Grala is on my. What's that?
He's in this race this weekend?
He's in this race in the 02.
Oh.
Yeah.
Ooh, okay.
Yep. And of course,
I wouldn't have known that.
Yep. I took AJ Allmendinger as my lock. We all know how good he is on the road course.
Yeah.
He's getting back in the truck, much like Ryan Preece and Martin Truex Jr. earlier in the season. They know how to wheel and they know how to win, and that's the stick on Allmendinger. He knows how to wheel and he knows how to win. So then we go to 4:30 in the afternoon. My God in heaven, the names just keep getting dumber and dumber and dumber. But 82 laps of Xfinity road course racing. Go ahead, Corey. Do your thing.
All right. So you can catch the Screwball Peanut Butter Whiskey 200. I'd never even heard of this until like someone sent this to me, and I was like, "That's the name." But anyways,
not that great.
Yeah, but anyways, you can catch the race 4:00 Eastern time right after the truck race. This will be on CNBC. Yes, guys, the fact that, and I'm going to tell you a little story on this. So I was looking on my NASCAR mobile app, and they had the race on NBC, and I thought, okay, I'll just look on the TV guide since I got to work this week in a DVR and so forth. And then I look on 4:00 Saturday. It's not on there because they got the Olympics going on. So I thought, okay, did they not updated it, or is this kind of a misprint or whatever? So I looked on NBCSN, they couldn't find it. And then I thought, all right, street smart. So then I go up to CNBC, and there it is right there, 4:00 Eastern time. And I'm like, should have guessed. But anyways, you can catch the race on CNBC, and you can stream it live on the Motor Racing Network.
Never quitting on trying to win, the voice of NASCAR.
Yeah.
All right, looking down the list, we got some relatively unknowns filling some spots. Michael Munley will run the 6 for Johnny Davis Racing. Moving on down the line, I saw the name. Let me find it again. Eric Jones is going to be piloting the 31. So he looks to be the only Cup guy who is going to come down and run this little race.
All right, look who's in the 23 car.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that guy. He'll be out of a job next year.
Who's that?
I don't consider Austin Dillon a Cup guy. I consider him as somebody's grandson.
Man, did you see him almost win Darlington last year? That was
Wow,
insane.
did you see Matty D almost win 4 times in the last 2 years?
Okay, Matty D's better, yes, but Austin does have some skill. He just randomly shows it off.
Well,
right,
no,
You're very
honestly,
randomly.
honestly,
right rear down Marola at the 500.
Well, honestly, don't be surprised if Austin wins Daytona in about 2 weeks or 3 weeks, because
I would not be in the least bit surprised.
I mean, well, just remember in the Daytona 500, I think he was running like third when the caution came out, and had the caution not come out or whatever. I think he still would have won the race in that 3-wide finish, but honestly, with that team, the way that they ran on the super speedways, I mean, I wouldn't count him out at this point, especially him and Tyler Reddick. So
No, you'd be silly to count out any RCR car at Daytona. It's RCR. They build cars. We win at Daytona. We don't worry about the rest of the season. Those wins will come, but the impetus was always on winning at Daytona. You're right.
Right.
I truly believe we're going to have a moment at Daytona where a crash happens and all of these underdogs we want to see make it in just aren't gonna miss it.
Just like I said, we could see a Rick Ware car win the race.
That's right. I mean, again, going back to Joey's point way earlier on, I don't think if you put a gun to our heads back in January and said, okay, is Michael McDowell going to win a race this year? And we'd all say no.
No.
And we'd be Kennedy'd in a minute.
Yeah.
Done. Done and done.
Yeah.
Especially because I was screaming, the caution's out, Chase is leading. The caution is out, Chase is leading.
But who was leading at the last scoring loop?
McDowell.
So.
And actually, it was funny because on my Facebook group chat, we were I think right when that happened, everybody was just losing their shit. Yeah, $2 in the drawer, by the way. And yeah, everybody was just like, "What the heck happened?" And then one of my friends just said McDowell wins, and I'm like, "Well, hold on, they gotta check the timing and scoring, and then who was leading when the caution came out, and then of course." I think it was like probably 3 minutes later. That's when NASCAR said McDowell won at the last scoring loop or wherever it was. He was leading at the moment of caution. So, yeah, that was a very interesting night, I must say.
Well, now that we've veered way off course, then again, we are talking about a road course. We took a left and a right on that. Let's hit it. Joey, you got a lock and a sleeper for the Xfinity race at Watkins Glen.
I'm going to throw Justin Allgaier in my lock.
Okay.
And I think I'm going to pick Gregson as my sleeper.
Nice. Nice. Corey, you're up this time.
All right. So when it comes to road courses, my lock on this one definitely has to go to Austin Cindric. I mean, him and Allmendinger, I mean, they have been pretty good, but if I have to pick one, I have to say Cindric. And my sleeper on this one, I'm going to go with the guy that has the one win on the road course this season. I'm going to go with the 54 of Ty Gibbs. And honestly, this kid has been really surprising me this season. And the fact that he has 2 wins this year, and not to mention he's just killing it on the Ark and Menard series. I mean, this is going to be one guy that I really expect, to win this weekend. I mean, hey, he should have won Road America if he hadn't had that gearbox problem or whatever he had. But honestly, I just like this kid, and this kid's got a lot of potential and a lot of talent too.
Nice. I like the pick, but then again, they don't pay for shoulda, woulda, coulda. But I like where you went with that. All right, Mike, you're up.
I wanted to go Allmendinger against Corey because I like to go against Corey. But with him running that truck race, like I said, something's going to go wrong. He's not going to win the trucks, so he's going to be angry for Xfinity. I think something goes wrong in Xfinity as well. He does have wins there, so that, like, if I bet money, I'd bet on Allmendinger. But give me Justin Haley's going to be in there, I think, is my sleeper. I'm going to go with Allmendinger's little protege for Haley. To win, shoot, man. No, give me Haley to win and give me Eric Jones as my sleeper.
All right. I just got to switch him now because originally you said sleeper, so I got it.
Yeah, Jones was the one I forgot about. But in that 31 car, he's going to finish easily in the top 10.
All right. Now, I also took Austin Cindric as my lock and as my sleeper. You guys know how I feel about this guy. Again, it's coming. He's going to get that mojo back. And then I'm going with Mr. Brandon Effin Jones as my sleeper.
Yep.
I
know it's a rough, wonky pick, but it's got to happen. He can't have this bad mojo for that long.
Feeling the heat from that one.
Feel free, because now it's going to get even more heated because we're going to Sunday. This is going to be at 3 p.m., 90 laps of road course racing for the Cup guys. Brad Keselowski is on the pole, and Corey's going to tell you where, when, and how.
All right, so you can catch the Go Bowling at the Glen, 3 o'clock Eastern Time on NBCSN, and you can stream it live on the Motor Racing Network.
The only voice of NASCAR.
Yes.
Okay, so I'm looking through the list. The only 2 names that I see that are bringing in the road course ringers is the 78 is going to be run by Kyle Tilley, and the 15 of Rick Ware Racing is going to be run by R.C. Enerson. Does anybody know anything about these 2 jamokes?
I mean, Kyle Tilley, I think he's maybe a road racer from what I'm assuming, and then R.C. Enerson, never heard of this guy in my life.
Okay, fair enough. As we've been doing with our favorite guest, Mr. Joey Walnuts, why don't you go ahead with your lock, sleeper, and you get a hopeful for this race. So 3 for the price of 1.
I'm going to take Ryan Blaney in my lock.
Wow.
Got that win at Atlanta earlier this year. Kind of been a little quiet since, so I think he's going to get up toward the front and do so. I don't even know where he's starting, to be honest with you, but I think he's going to have a real good day. And then I'm going to take Martin Truex Jr. in my sleeper. And for the hopeful, which is always probably going to turn out up in front anyway, is Chase Elliott.
Nice. Okay. So we went with Corey last time. Mike, go ahead and hit it.
I had this easily down. Normally I have to toy with it. Lock to win, Chase Elliott, the man at Watkins Glen, baby.
Yeah.
Okay.
Easily wins. Sleeper, Tyler Reddick, Mr. Road Course this year.
Mhm.
And hopeful, I want to pick Matty because he did so well. What was that? Road America, he was battling Cindric.
Yeah.
Yeah, Matty's going to be driving like a bat out of hell. So I'm going to have to take Matty, even though I know that's your hopeful pick every week, Chris. I honestly, off the top of my head, gun to my head, I can't think of who else runs well on a road course. I don't know if Allmendinger's running a colleague car. I don't think he's doing the triple. If they were smart, he'd be doing the cup car for colleague. But yeah. So I think I got to go Matty D.
All right. And Corey.
All right. Okay, so my lock this weekend, I'm going to have to go with Chase Elliott on this one. My sleeper going into this weekend, for a guy that's done pretty good on the road courses, has a decent road course stat. I'm going to go with the 99 of Daniel Suarez. This is a kid that, has been kind of impressive this year in the fact that now we already know what Trackhouse Racing will be doing next year, and they have their lineup set for next year as well. And my hopeful going into this weekend, I'm going to go with the guy that just won a few weeks ago in New Hampshire. I'm going to go with Almirola. Starts in the top 10 this weekend. And I really want to see how this team does from this weekend until we get to the last race of the regular season at Daytona, because I do think I can possibly see this team get another win before we start the playoffs. And honestly, I would not be surprised if he wins a Daytona in a couple weeks, or quite honestly, maybe Michigan. So I just want to see how this team runs. And again, they just got the win. They have their playoffs punched in. They're in the playoffs no matter what. But I really want to see how this team performs and how they do playoff-wise this year.
Liking all these picks so far, but I am going to sort of piggyback something that Mike said when he made his pick. I'm taking three guys that are going to be driving like pissed-off teenagers with an axe to grind and something to prove. Coming off his – guys, you might want to write today's date down. If I'm not mistaken, it is Thursday, August 5th in the year of our Lord 2021. The first guy that's going to be driving like a pissed-off teenager trying to prove a point is going to be the 18 of Kyle Busch. He is going to be my lock. He does really well on road courses. As much as I hate to pick him, I'm trying to win this contest, and the only way to win is to play the game using your brain and not your guts, because usually when I pick with my guts, you find out what happens. It goes into the tank rather quickly. The second guy going to be driving like a pissed-off teenager. He's going to be trying to make the playoffs, and he does really well at road courses, except for this year. I'm taking Kevin Harvick as my sleeper. Kind of odd to say Kevin Harvick as a sleeper, but when you look at the way this season has played out, he's not a guy that's a favorite this season. Mike, you might have to take a shower, man. It seems like you got something coming off of you, bro.
Oh, boy.
Woo! Something stinks in here, and it's your bad picks, Chris.
I thought it was your shirt. Sorry about that.
Oh, jeez.
And of course, my hopeful until he either wins a race or I die is Matt DiBenedetto. Finished 10th at Road America, did really decently at COTA. That's about it. Like Joey said, I can't point to this too much, but I can. Coming from a race car driver's perspective, it's great to finish second. You're on the podium more often than you're not. That consistency is going to take you to a win. Would it be great to get it on a road course? Sure. You have to have that all-around ability to wheel left, right, uphill, downhill. That roller coaster at Road America looked so much fun, and it's called the racetrack. You go up the big hill, you go down the big hill, the big sweeping turns. And Matt's done well this season at all sorts of tracks. So why not Matt DiBenedetto? But
Right.
before we close out, I'm going to put Senor Walnuts on the spot. Joey, you have a friend, and we would love tremendously to talk to your friend. Would you care to tell us who that friend is and get our folks excited?
Yeah, so I grew up racing with. I started racing legend cars in Waterford, Stafford, mostly around Connecticut, and then I would head up to Bethel Motor Speedway in Bethel, New York. They would do this race called Legend Stock, famous for Woodstock, the old 10, probably 5 minutes, a mile down the road. And I met Christian Eckes there, former driver for, Kyle Busch Motorsports, ARCA champion, now driving for Thor Sport in the 98 part-time with Grant Enfinger. So I've been close with him ever since then. Spent a week with him last week in Seekonk, Mass. He raced a legend car on Wednesday and Friday. And then earlier in July, he ran legend stock in Bethel again. Bethel was his home track, so it was cool to get him back up there for that.
Nice. And, Joey has told us that he'd like to put the word out to Christian to possibly come on the show. Don't want to necessarily do it during the season, maybe in the off season when we've got, 8.5 weeks to fill. That would be great. And if he does, we will give all the credit and all the love to Joey Walnuts.
Absolutely.
You are the man. Tell people where they can find you out there in the world of the internet.
Yeah, so I'm on Instagram, jternullo18. I'm on Twitter. I believe it's the same. Shame on me for not knowing that. Facebook, you can find me at just my name right there, Joey Ternullo or Ternullo Racing. And then find me at the track when I ever so get back, hopefully by the end of this month or beginning of September. You'll catch me at Waterford for the rest of the year, and then probably catch me at Stafford for the fall final the end of September. So that's where I'll be, trying to, wrap out my season, even though it hasn't been the greatest, but we will find a way and get there however.
Nice. Where can people find you online?
So I'm usually, I'm on Twitter most of the time. So, tag me on Twitter, send me something, get me on Facebook. I'll respond, hit me up for some merchandise, getting a nice shipment in of new shirts at the end of this month. So I'll be selling. Stop by at the trailer, come to Waterford, have a good time. Got some big SK races coming up, so don't miss out.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. Gentlemen, I know this is the part where I always say, what do you have to pimp, plug, or otherwise push upon the people? That was the best comment ever, by the way. Gotta love that comment. Can you bring that one up, Mike? That was beautiful.
It seems to have been written by someone that's bogus and opinion. It's fake news. It's fake news.
Put the damn comment up. There it is. Chris makes the best picks. Wait until football season, which unofficially started tonight, guys. All right.
Really? Yeah.
Just so, look, I have to do this for Corey's honor because depending on what week it is, he's a Patriots fan, a Saints fan. Depending on which way the wind blows, I'm putting everybody on the spot right now. I know two of the answers without question. Mike, I think I know yours. Who is your favorite football team? Mike, you start. We'll go clockwise. I'll call you off one by one.
Being a Florida grown boy, gotta go with the 305. Fins up, baby. Fins
Nice.
Nation.
One of the greatest quarterbacks ever to put a football in his hand, Dan Marino, made me love football.
I'm thinking about doing an AFC East podcast.
Interesting. I wish you and the three people that will listen to it. No, actually, no. You'll get a lot of listeners because Patriots Nation loves to just put themselves out there. No offense to Patriot Nation, but they like to put themselves out there and remind you, if you're a Dolphin fan or Bills fan or even worse, Jets fan, that you have been underneath their shoe for 20 years.
Yeah, it's going to be basically like a Dolphins home game against the Patriots. It's going to be mostly Patriots fans that tune in. But it's going to be me, Dolphins versus Jordan's Patriots, every Sunday bringing you the recap, what happened in the AFC East, who's on top, who's not, and just crapping on the Jets every chance we get. So.
And here I used to like Jordan. I thought so much of that guy.
Yeah. You think
Terrible.
you know think you know a guy.
That's what I'm saying. But Walnuts, I already know your answer, but tell the nice folks at home who you're supporting.
Green Bay Packers. Hopefully, Aaron Rodgers can not lose his. It would be 5th NFC Championship if they make it this year. It'd be 3rd in a row if they lose it again. So if the NFC Championship was a Super Bowl, we'd make it every year. But fortunately, that's not how it works. So I'd like to see Aaron Rodgers get another ring. He's back on the team in full force. Tim Boyle has gone to Detroit, former Xavier football player, won a few rings at Xavier, so that was cool to interact with him to the season. So wishing him the best in Detroit. So we'll see if Green Bay can run the North again.
All right, Corey, on the spot, Jones, you have one team and one team only that you can pick. Pick it.
Alrighty, so coming from New England, yeah, I mean, I do love the New England Patriots ever since Tom Brady, played for a number of years, won a bunch of Super Bowls for us. And of course, we all remember that one Super Bowl, the comeback game, which I will have to say, you're never going to see a Super Bowl like that ever again in years lifetime. But then, of course, once Brady left, it felt really weird. And then the fact that we brought Cam Newton in, I thought, okay, he played for Carolina and, probably one of the tallest football players I've ever seen, to run the ball. Let's just see how it goes. So the first 2 games, I thought they were okay. And then after that, we just all of a sudden just tanked. And then all of a sudden I was like, yeah, this is not our year. And I knew this was going to be a rebuilding year for us. I mean, once Brady left, I knew that it wasn't going to be a winning season, but of course, we do have to open up against the Dolphins, and yeah, I am really excited to see how that's going to play out. And of course, Tua Tagovailoa, is starting. The fact that he did play for Alabama, which he was pretty good. But I mean, I will say for us, I don't think it's going to be a winning year, but I think it's going to be a trying and consistent year because I do hate to say it. I think Buffalo is going to end up winning the division again. However, I did hear rumors that the Bills are possibly going to be leaving Buffalo and going to be playing in Austin, Texas. So really? I kind of thought to myself,
wow.
So I kind of thought to myself, okay, so if the Bills go to Austin, would that mean would they still be in the AFC or would they have to be in the NFC and then somebody on the NFC East would have to trade up to be in the AFC East? Because that's kind of a question I kind of thought about the last few days. Like, I'm just saying, what if, the Bills decide to leave Buffalo and go to Austin?
That's up to the league to decide. I know when they restructured everything, finally Atlanta was in a division where they belonged, which was the South. At no point has Atlanta ever been a West Coast team, but there they were in the NFC West for years and years. It made no sense. But then again, Dallas is still in the NFC East, even though they're in the middle part of the country.
Yeah.
But I get grandfathering Dallas in. There's a history there. And unfortunately, you didn't stamp your pick. You just talking about all these wonderful triumphs in Cam Newton. Is that your pick as your team for this season?
Yes.
Okay, good. Tired of watching you prance around in Saints gear, you rotten.
Hey, honestly, since Breeze left, I'm kind of thinking, I don't know how the Saints are going to do this year now that Breeze is leaving, but I think they're going to be in the same boat, with the Patriots, once Brady left. I think they're going to be in the same boat this year.
Well, the Saints got Aaron Rodgers coming to town week 1.
Yeah, it's going to be fun to watch.
It'll be a big game. But I want to go back. I want to go on what Corey said about week 1 against Miami is we lost Fitzmagic. And not to say I don't have faith in Tua, but he's too what do you call it? He's too green. He's too green. So it's these Miami New England matches usually go, New England wins the first one. Sometimes the Dolphins get a miracle and win the second one on the back end of the season. But this is going to be the first time that we're kind of 2 teams that are kind of almost on equal playing as far as who we have, who's going against each other. Right. So I wouldn't say you could put money on New England, and you also couldn't put money on Miami either. We've had a lot of roster shakeup and a lot of new people coming in. And like I said, losing Fitzmagic was the most heartbreaking thing in football this year. So,
Right.
All right. Well, you guys, if you've watched or listened to any of our stuff before, you already know Corey broke my heart about 5 minutes ago, talking about not only the greatest Super Bowl ever played, but the biggest fourth quarter collapse that I called at the start of the fourth quarter with my Atlanta Falcons versus the New England Patriots. Nice rebuilding in the offseason, not quite as good as they could have done, but it is promising. This won't be a losing season, but I don't see it being a breakout season. I see Atlanta going 8-8. No, 17-game season. I'm going to give them. I'm gonna
8 and 9.
I'm going to go 8 and I'm going to go 8 and 9. We'll call it. No, I'm going to go 8 and 1. I'm going to stick to my guns. They're going to have a tie. Seems like every 4 years Atlanta comes up with a tie, but the rebuilding is moving. The offense is tight again. The O-line was secured, which was great. We needed that help. Matt Ryan spent more time on his back than my ex-girlfriend. He needs protection. And when you don't have protection, you're going to get knocked on your ass. The defense still needs a lot of help. And if you guys watched or looked at any of the scores from last season, there's no reason you go up 40-13 against Dallas and lose the game 41-40. That's the story of the Atlanta Falcons. If the Atlanta Falcons played hockey, they'd be Stanley Cup champions every year because they give you 3 great periods, and then comes the fourth, and they blow it all to hell.
Yep.
But it was great watching them beat the Vikings in October. It was beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
Because it made Joey Walnut smile, because when you beat the Vikings, it just puts Green Bay one more step up the ladder.
A good day. I'm going to go 12-5, Green Bay's record this year.
Ooh, nice call. All right. So since we're putting everybody on the spot, Mike, what's the Dolphins' finishing record going to be?
It's got to be 7-10, if that.
I was going to flip and say 10-7.
The only teams we're guaranteed to beat is not even the Browns anymore, unfortunately.
You play the
so
Jets
we know we're going to
twice a
get 2 wins against the Jets, but other than that, we're not going to know what we have until we get out there and lose 5 games, and then we'll see what we got.
So 2-15 at worst.
All right. Hey, listen.
We can't fake a losing season to claim we're trying to get a good draft pick again. We just can't.
Right.
We shot our shot on Tua. So.
All right, Mike, I've got your regular season schedule here, and I'm going to run through it. And you're gonna see one game on here that I'm going to give you your preseason too. There are 2 games on your schedule I'm very interested in. Your preseason starts Saturday the 14th against the Chicago Bears. At home the next week, August 21st, Saturday night, 7 p.m. in Miami, you host the mighty Atlanta Falcons. Your last preseason game will be against the Bengals in Cincinnati. Your regular season schedule, you want to know who they play. Yes, you play the Jets twice, but I see some spots in this schedule where you can pick up a really good amount of wins. You got the Patriots, the Bills, the Raiders, the Colts, the reigning and defending champion Buccaneers, with the Jaguars. In October, you get the Falcons again. Bills, Texans, Ravens, Jets, Panthers, Giants, Jets, Saints, Titans, and you close the season against the Patriots. I don't know a whole lot about the new Dolphins squad. I could see right now 5 wins easily. Yeah.
And I think I saw more than that. There's some really, really crappy teams in there that I didn't realize. Maybe not the Texans. I guess the Texans have been kind of stronger, but definitely Carolina's in there. Giants are not anything. So there's a couple in there.
Okay.
With you.
Well, let's be fair here. Now we're going to go. I know I'm dragging, but we're talking football, and it's somewhat of a love. All right, Mr. Walnuts, your preseason starts. Your preseason starts next Saturday. What are you saying?
I said I don't know if you looked at the Packers schedule, but it is pretty damn brutal this year.
I'm looking at it right now. We're gonna let you guys know exactly what Mr. Walnuts is looking at. Your preseason starts Saturday, August 14th against the Texans. You then have your next preseason game against the Jets, and you finish the preseason against the Bills. Your regular season opponents are the Saints, the Lions, the 49ers, the Steelers, the Bengals, the Bears, the Washington football team, the Cardinals, the Chiefs, the Sea Chickens, the Vikings, the Rams, the Bears, the Ravens, the Browns, the Vikings again, and you close out the season with a win against Detroit. Yeah, 12-5 does not seem out of the ordinary.
Yeah, maybe even 11-6.
Absolutely.
It's funny because the 17th game added just happens to be the Chiefs and Arrowhead. Yeah, that's an easy one.
Yeah. I mean, they're one of the hotter teams right now.
Yep.
Champions 2 years ago.
Yep.
I got to see Pineapple Head get slapped around by Tom Brady this past January. That was fun. I don't hate it. Before anybody sends hate mail to my Twitter, I don't hate the Chiefs. I hate the idea that the Chiefs are this explosive dynasty. Time's going to tell. Tom Brady ran a dynasty. Derek Jeter was part of a dynasty. Terry Bradshaw was part of a dynasty. Patrick Mahomes, jury's still out, and I'm not sure they're coming back with a verdict anytime soon. Corey, are you ready?
Yes.
All right, Corey, your preseason starts Thursday, August 12th against the Washington football team. You then play the Eagles, and you close out your preseason against the Patriot Killers themselves, the New York Giants.
Yeah.
Your regular season opponents are the Dolphins, the Jets, the Saints, the reigning and defending return to Foxborough as Super Bowl champion for another team, the Buccaneers, the Texans, the Cowboys. By the way, October 17th, I am for one day a Patriots fan because I hate the Cowboys. The Jets, the Chargers, the Panthers, the Browns, the mighty Atlanta Falcons, the Titans, the Bills, the Colts, the Bills, the Jaguars, and you close out your regular season against the Dolphins. Ooh, yeah. 10-7, maybe 9-8.
I mean, I think with Cam Newton's second year, I'm gonna possibly say maybe 9 wins, maybe 9.
Okay. All right.
I don't know. I mean, I just want to see how he does in his second year because last year he just basically just shit the bed. Yeah, another $2 in the drawer. I don't know. I mean, I'm gonna say probably either 9 wins or possibly 7 wins because, again, like I said, I don't think this is going to be a winning season for us, but I think it's going to be a consistent trying season depending how he does in his second year.
I think with as many times as my team, well, I play both of your teams. We all our teams, you, Mike, and me play each other this season. Yeah. And I think there's going to have to be at least for one of those games each, a side bet between you and him, me and you. There's going to have to be some sort of side bet with a prize at the end. But, man, I am looking at a schedule that screams playoffs, but at the same time, it also shows me a first-round kick in the ass to get out of the playoffs. My preseason starts Friday the 13th. Couldn't be better against the very good Tennessee Titans. The aforementioned Dolphins game on the 21st, and we close our preseason out against the Browns. Atlanta's regular season opponents are the Eagles, the reigning and defending heavyweight champions, the Buccaneers, the Giants, the Washington football team, the Jets, the Dolphins, the Panthers, the Saints, the Cowboys, the Patriots, the Jaguars, the Bucs again, the Panthers again, the 49ers, the Lions, the Bills, and we end our season against the Saints. I'm sticking with 8-1, and I think that one is probably going to come against, and I had this in my head right here. It's
Dallas.
probably – what's that?
Dallas.
Oh, hell no. We're going to beat Dallas if they owe us money. I'm no, to be completely fair, if a tie is going to come, it's going to come against a team that is up and coming, and really it's going to come in that first week. It's going to come against the Eagles. if there's going to be a tie. If not, I'll be pleasantly surprised. But this schedule screams playoff football. But then again, just making the playoffs isn't enough. Michael McDowell be damned.
Right.
All right. So, gentlemen, I have had fun.
Thank
Joey,
you.
it's always great to have you come aboard.
Thank you very much.
And guys,
Great time.
if you want to find him, go find him. He's Joey Ternullo. For Corey and Mike, my name is Chris. We will see you next week. Uh-oh. Mike, you took a deep breath. Does that mean you're going to speak?
Yep.
Oh, here we go.
Here we go.
Oh, wait. You forgot his plug.
Yeah. Got to give him my shout out. And I do want to thank Joey for coming on here also. I will be following you in your adventures going forward. Best of luck to you.
Thank you.
Hope to see you in a truck one day, buddy. That would be awesome.
Hell yeah. Well,
So it's Watkins Glen, so I got to give a shout out to my childhood friend, Daniel Shell. Him and I have been having the best Watkins Glen battles on NASCAR video games since 2010, maybe even going back further than that. But yeah, we are really good at Watkins, and that is our favorite track. So he is battling with COVID right now. He's feeling the symptoms from it. So, Daniel, I wish you and your family a speedy recovery.
Get better, kid.
Yeah.
And what about your other plug, the one that's my favorite of all time? Come on, look at the hat.
Can't even see it. Oh, yes, of course. Till Valhalla. Looked them up on Facebook. They have a special 9/11 tribute T-shirt. I've already pre-ordered mine. It's the 20th anniversary of 9/11 this year. Do what you can for family or you know, any kind of military family that suffered a loss. You know, there are heroes, and not just military. You know, the fire department. Police, you know, first responders, they were the real superheroes that day. So definitely want to find ways that you can, you know, you can donate or you can make someone's day or even put flowers on a graveyard, you know, just look for a way, find it. And I believe Till Valhalla is doing my good buddy Nick Quinones, who is on YouTube as a independent wrestler, is what he refers to himself as. He is becoming, for Till Valhalla, he delivers the plaques now to the family. He's become one of the persons that will, I guess you can sign up for it. There is some kind of premium membership. I'm not quite sure how it works, but you can contact them if you want to get more involved and actually go to this family and hand them the plaque rather than just buying the T-shirts. So, Till Valhalla Project, I will rep them every day, 22 a day for veterans suicide.
Amen. And real quick, I would be remiss if we did not shout out our friend, Mr. Cody Dinsmore from the Georgia Racing Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
We are officially a partner, I guess, or how would you say it? He sponsors us. He endorses us. Georgia Motorsports Hall of Fame. Great guy. If you haven't watched that interview or listened to it, go back and find it. He was a great, great guy. Can't wait to talk to him again. But for Mike, for myself, for Corey, we say goodnight to all of you, and especially number 10 in your scorebook, but number 1 in our hearts. He's going to be at Waterford before you know it. Waterford Speed Bowl, Waterford, Connecticut, Mr. Joey Ternullo. Good night, everybody.
thank you, guys.